So, I have a confession to make. I really did not care about the NDP leadership race for a long time because it was so long. And to be honest, I was totally turned off the NDP because I thought that they were just a bunch of centrists in waiting. And under Jagmeet Singh, they really weren't a committed left-wing party. And I think a left-wing party is exactly what this country needs. No. Let me rephrase. An unapologetic leftist party. Not the, oh, we'll give you tax breaks for whatever. I don't want to hear the word tax breaks, honestly. So given that the NDP has not been that party for a generation, most likely I thought they were going to choose somebody who was just a better communicator, but just as small L liberal. Because for some reason the NDP believed that if you were almost liberal, it was being better than being an actual leftist, which left them destroyed last election. So when Avi Lewis was elected on, I think it was March 29th, the freak out, the entire establishment freak out is honestly what got me to pay attention. And now I'm kind of excited because anything that rocks the establishment this much needs to be studied. It might actually be good for people. So naturally I wrote about it. This is my column in the Hill Times. Check it out. It is behind a paywall, so I will take excerpts from this in the video, but what I will do is I will repost it on badandbitchy.com, which is where you can find the extended versions of all these videos. But anyway, if you want to hear me talk about the mockery in great detail and how I laughed at said mockery, check me out on Bad and Bitchy. Anyway, so let's see what some of these establishment people have to say. Here's James Moore, who used to be the industry minister under Stephen Harper. Yeah, fun times.
I think the New Democrats has chosen a leader who is very high risk, very high, could possibly reward relative to Jagmeet Singh, but I think their ceiling is still very low. And I think Mark Carney is one of the luckiest political leaders that we've seen in this country in a long time, in the fact that New Democrats keep tripping over themselves and electing people who are not electable to the broader Canadian public.
Should we really be taking advice from a conservative on who's electable and who is not? Methinks not. Because given the state of the conservatives right now and the fact that everybody in their country hates their leader, I would take James Moore's opinion with a grain of salt. And it's not even just like the political establishment. It's the media establishment too, who has spent literally a generation parroting trickle-down economics to us and establishing that as a baseline for any sort of discussion. And anything left of trickle-down economics or neoliberalism, basically, neoliberal politics, is somehow silly. Like, shouldn't be taken seriously, is kooky. Like, somehow the people who are progressive in this country are labeled as, like, unserious people. And frankly, I'm tired of it. Because guess what? That's how the establishment has convinced us that this shit is normal. And when I say this shit, I mean, this affordability shit. Like, we're all supposed to grin and bear it. Like, are you serious? Anyway, here's Rosie Barton. I know she's a lot of your faves.
Let's bring in the new NDP leader, Avi Lewis. Mr. Lewis, I think I had you. There you go. Congratulations, sir. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
You did address some of it off the top there after your win, Mr. Lewis, but one of the things you are going to need to do, first of all, is reach out to some of your provincial counterparts, two of whom, Naheed Nenshi and Carla Beck, have already said this morning that they disagree with you on issues of resource development. Carla Beck says she doesn't want to meet with you at all until you change your position. So how do you manage that
dumb.
reality, Mr. Lewis?
Well, thank you for the congratulations, Rosie. We had an all-time high voter turnout, and we had an all-time high number of votes for our campaign, and the highest percentage winning total in the one-member, one-vote era. So sorry, I'm just getting the news off the top. But I have been elected with a major mandate from the members of the federal NDP on a message that's not just about natural resource development, but is about addressing the grinding everyday emergency of trying to get by in a cost of living crisis and our very specific proposals for dealing with that.
Rosie wouldn't know anything about that.
From our membership on a vision that's been very consistent. We have a responsibility to those members to be consistent. Now, I've reached out to Carla, and I believe that the way around these very natural New Democratic differences is through conversation. I happen to be a person who welcomes hard conversations. I think they're really necessary, and I embrace them, and my door is always open, and I look forward to talking to Carla when she's ready. I can't change our position because, as I say, I've been elected with a mandate to carry it out.
Understood.
But when it comes to Naheed, I want Naheed Nenshi to be the next premier of Alberta. We must get rid of Danielle Smith, and Naheed Nenshi has stood up for trans kids and stood up for workers against the unreasonable use of the notwithstanding clause, and I'm utterly devoted to Naheed's victory. Despite the fact that he's not a member of the federal party, we are still New Democrats in spirit, in soul, and in fundamental values.
I don't have a lot of time just because you guys were running a little bit late, so let me just push ahead. When do you plan to try and get a seat inside the House of Commons, Mr. Lewis? How important is that to you, to your rebuilding strategy?
It's very important, but it's not the primary importance right now, this second. There is a big country out here, and we have a big job of rebuilding to do. When Jack was elected, he said off the top he was going to take a year and rebuild the party. I'm not committing to a time frame, but we have a lot of grassroots organizing to do, candidates to identify, election readiness to prepare, and it's very exciting to be out here among New Democrats and to travel the land and be in people's daily reality and work through the solutions with them and build up the party and the energy. I don't know if you've seen it on the floor of this convention, but we're back, Rosie, and we have building to do.
Well, you're there, and you think that you're back. That's all fair and good, but it is a long road ahead. You will acknowledge that.
Democrats know that we have a lot of work to do, but 2,000 people at this convention, tremendous amount of energy, is slightly out of sync with the portrayal of a party in the wilderness. New Democrats know that we're on our way back, and we've had incredible momentum during this campaign and at this convention.
One of the challenges right now in the current political environment, Mr. Lewis, is it's very hard to get a message across because Canadians are very preoccupied, yes, with cost of living, to your point, but also with the geopolitical situation we're in. How do you make sure that you can speak to Canadians at a time when, as you said in your speech, many of them are giving the Prime Minister the benefit of the doubt right now?
Yeah, well, I think we have a very different vision for how to build the safety and security of Canadians and Canada's clarion moral voice on the international stage. And Mr. Poilievre does not offer that alternative. We offer an alternative. We are an anti-war party. We are always up for defending international law, and we're ready to denounce illegal wars and illegal adventures like the ones we've seen in Iran and the genocide in Gaza. And the NDP can be a voice of moral clarity to speak to Canadians' concerns about the geopolitical situation. We need to make common cause with other nations that believe in the fundamentals of peace and international law.
Is the goal for the NDP under your leadership, Mr. Lewis, to form government, or is the goal to be sort of a protest party that speaks about some of the issues that matter to other Canadians?
No. The goal of every political party is to win more seats and to take power in the nation. We're probably an election cycle or two away from that because we don't have party status and we're building back from the bottom of the electoral cycle. The goal is always to build power. the number of votes in this election, in this leadership race, the number of new members, we are building our base, we're building a bigger tent, and we're coming back as a party. Our proposal on a public option for groceries has received hundreds, thousands of responses from conservatives who are drawn to this idea because everybody is hurting at the checkout. And they cannot understand why Galen Weston is worth $20 billion and they can't pay for groceries, and 1 out of 4 parents is cutting back on food in order to feed their kids. We're going to offer an option for that, and we're going to come back on that basis.
Avi Lewis, thank you for making the time. I know we'll speak again. Congratulations again, sir.
Hey,
we're going to say goodbye now.
To, Rosie.
Okay,
thank you.
We'll talk again soon.
I'm sorry, but that was weird because the whole "you were late," I was just like, calm down. The man is celebrating a win. Like, the dismissiveness with which she carried out this interview, it already tells us the way CBC especially is going to treat not only the NDP, but us, to be honest. And I'm not saying this because I think we are an extension of the NDP, but I think the NDP is bringing up some policy issues, Canada Post, the war in Iran, and dynamic pricing, for example. So watching this like nearly a month later, I'm just like, I could see what you all were talking about. I really can. Now, I can't tell you how relieved I was to hear the man say that Israel was committing genocide, because in political discussion, that has been a topic or belief or viewpoint that has not been accepted in the establishment. In fact, if you say Israel is committing genocide, the first thing you get is, well, doesn't Israel have a right to defend itself? Well, don't the countries Israel just attacks, don't they have a right to defend themselves? Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But finally, it's nice to have an anti-genocide, anti-war party, because without this evolution of the NDP, we would never, ever have gotten that. We're never going to get that from the Liberals and the Conservatives. I don't think the Conservatives have any humanity left, to be honest. It's the mockery and the dismissiveness. The fact is, people are struggling. And when I say struggling, right now I'm in Alberta. I do spend some time here every year, a long time here every year. And I'm glad to get out of the Ottawa bubble, because this lets me know that the regular people are struggling. Gas prices, electricity prices, food prices, this war in Iran that may, depending on how long it lasts, it may end up actually raising interest rates. And the last thing we need now is inflation. And so this attitude of just mockery and derision from the establishment and the ruling class was just wild to me. So the fact that, I kid you not, for at least a week, if not 10 days to 2 weeks, people were losing their minds. What does Rosie Barton know about affordability? What does James Moore know about affordability? Nothing. Because they're of the class where they don't have to worry about that. They've already made their professional connections. Like, at the end of the day, they are set. They can weather this storm. And I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know how long the affordability storm is going to last. Oh, yes, I forgot housing prices. My bad. Anyway, they can afford to weather the storm. They are the establishment. I'm sure Rosie Barton isn't starving. I'm sure James Moore isn't starving. I'm sure all of the other people who are a part of our ruling members, they ain't starving. So what do they care about us? Not a damn thing.